Hello, hello. Hopefully all you guys can hear me. Right now, got 5 people watching, which is awesome. Very good start. I know this was short notice, and I did promise to do a live stream with more notice, and I will be doing my next one sometime midweek next week, and that one will have much further notice, at least today. But anyway, I had free time today, and I really got to get designing, finishing designing the Eclips3D, so I figured I might as well just live stream it. And just lost 2 people. All right, so let me just make sure the sound works. It does. So let me mute that. And now I can get started, hopefully. All right, so there's only 3 people watching now, whatever. Doesn't matter. I'm sure more will join. But anyway, for you 3, feel free to ask me any questions you'd like in the comments, and I will answer them as I go. As well as any suggestions for things to incorporate in this. I'll gladly hear them here. Probably won't incorporate anything too crazy today, but nonetheless, I'm open to suggestions. So the first and most important thing I want to do is work on this, the extruder slider here, and I want to put a way on this back one to secure both of the belts, but have it adjustable. So actually, somebody in the last live stream, they linked me to something that was pretty much what I wanted to do. It had, do I have those pieces? I don't have those pieces. It had essentially, let me just open this up real quick. It's in, desktop, 3D, 0.2, it's belt clamp. So it essentially had 2 of these things stuck together, and then it had a way to mount it. So that's basically what I want to do. So first things first is I got to kind of design this piece that's going to be going in the middle. So on the front side here, I just have 2 of these guys that will bolt on, and I've printed those out and tested them. They're actually on my printer right now, and they work like a charm, no complaints. I only put 1 of them on, but whatever, yeah. So it works, so that's good. Actually, I do want to adjust this, though, real quick, just because it was a little bit tight getting that belt in there. So I want to make this 2.3. That should be perfect. And then make this a little smaller, actually. So make this like a 2.7. Because why not, right? So that's good. So I really like where this is right now. And definitely going to be using this in the final printer. 4 people, yay. 5 people, yay. What did I just push? Oops. Nope. Okay. So yes, my idea for those of you who just joined is to get 2 of these, to slap them basically, or really just mirror this one piece, and then have a way to have it adjustable on this back, slide back and forth, and then secure it. So that would really be ideal. So that's what I'm going to work on doing today. So where I stopped last time, I was measuring these heights to find where the middle was. So this one, 8 1/4, and this is 14 1/4. So somewhere in between is 11 1/4, I believe. I wonder if this is the middle. It is 11 1/4. Doesn't hurt to double check. I don't need that sketch. I really don't like how in Autodesk Inventor, whenever you start a sketch, even if you delete everything in that sketch and leave it, it still saves the sketch, even if it's an empty sketch, which doesn't really make sense, but whatever, they can do what they want to do. So this guy here is going to be 11 1/4 up. So that's going to be the midpoint. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 2 of these, actually. Trying to think if I should redraw this. Yeah, I should redraw this piece. All right, so I'm going to start a new piece, standard millimeter. And let me just try to pull as many dimensions from this as possible. Well, this is going to be however high it is, +4, I believe, to compensate for the difference in height between the belts. I don't know, that would be +7 or 8. I gotta check. It's So it's 16.5 tall. Now, differences in these heights, I got to find out. So this one is, I don't know how much higher, I don't know how much lower. Height, 6. Only 6. I thought it was more than 6. I guess not. Okay, so they are 6 millimeters apart. So coming back to this guy, so I'm going to want it to be 6 millimeters taller than this distance, which was what, 16.5. So I want it to be 21.5 tall. And how long? Probably double this. So 28 and I forget already. All right, so that's 22.5. Let me just do one at a time because my brain is not working today. This in, so it's going to be 22.5 tall. Wide is what, 28? Yes. My brain's working a little better. Okay. This is going to be the base, the back plate of this piece. So then what I want to do is I'll just extrude it this far, so that's 2.5 millimeters, just to give me a back plate, basically, to build off of. So that's the plate that I'm going to be working on. Now, I need to make 2 of these little belt holders. So how I'll do that is I'll just extrude out a big block, and then I will cut from the top that shape down. So I'm going to be extruding how far? 5.8 and half the size and tall. So 11 tall, and then I'll extrude 5.8 out. That might work. Let's find out. Oops. So I want to sketch on here. Oops. So actually, I gotta see which side is higher. So the right side is lower, the left side is higher. Whatever. Delete this. I don't know. I am in the sketch right now. Figures. So this side is lower. This, not from the midpoint, but it's going to be connected to that. And going up there. So now this stuff is actually going to be in the middle. But I'll just do a dimension for now, because I probably won't be changing it. And now, actually this doesn't go to the top, because it doesn't. So I'm going to pull that in there. I don't know why there's a point on this. No. All right, it won't let me grab that. I will deal with it later. And these are 11 tall each. So this one's going to be coming from the bottom. So that's good. And this one is going to be coming from 6 higher than the bottom. And that's good. And this is not. There we go. So that should be good. So now I can just trim through here. Make these collinear. And then extrude this blob, which was going out 5.8 if I remember correctly. So now from here, I can cut down from the top. Hopefully, so I want to cut along here. This will be the channel for the belts, and then this will be the little gap so that the belts can come out and around that post. So these dimensions are 3.2, 2.7. 2, 7, 2.2, and that's everything. Here, it messes everything up, of course. Oops. Linear, and then I can extrude this. But I want to cut this, and I want to cut it down 6, I believe it was. That would make sense because the belt is 6 millimeters wide. So that's good. Actually, now that I'm looking at this, I believe I'm going to want... Actually, this may work. Let me see how this works. Oh, that's right. They're 6 apart, so this ends up being flush. Okay. So now I'm going to be sketching on this surface. Essentially the same exact thing. Actually, it is the same thing. It's just mirrored. So I can just bring that right up to there. And then... So now I just have to make dimensions for this guy. But it's going to be the same as this. No. Those are going to be equal. And let me trim it already. There we go. And then these two are going to be equal, and these have to be vertical. Thank you. Perfect. Okay, and then extrude down 6. Good. Oh, that's right. So the belt's supposed to loop around here and then come back, which will work for this top one, but not for the bottom one. So these are going to have to be further apart. Let's give it another 6 millimeters, just so it has some breathing room. And then I'm going to have to get rid of that, get rid of that. And reconnect these and these. And then give them their dimensions. And it's going to break stuff. But this is life. So, oh, it didn't actually extrude both now. So let me select that profile and get that going. Okay, that's better. Actually, that's pretty good. So now that one's good, and this one is just going to have some messed up relationships. That should work. Strange. Oh. Oh, this one's wrong. Okay. Okay, so that's good. And feel free to ask any questions, guys, if you have them about the channel, 3D printing, whatever you want. Otherwise, I'm just going to be talking about the designing the whole time, which I don't know if maybe people want to listen to that. I don't really know. I still have a broken relationship. Oh, it's this purple guy. What am I working on right now? I am working on, just a sec, I gotta, it's gonna be a belt holder. Belt holder for the back of the X slider. So the front's just going to have these little modular belt holder things that will bolt on. On the back side, I want to do a joined one so that the two belts will be joined together so that it's adjustable and that you will have equal tension in both belts. Because as I found out, if you don't have the same tension in both belts, what ends up happening is it ends up cocking the gantry a little bit, and it makes it vibrate and makes it louder. What do I think of the Becaue? What is the Becaue? Oh, the 3D printer. That's right, on Kickstarter. I didn't really look into it too much. Oops, there we go. I didn't look into it too much, but I'm really skeptical of a Delta printer being that cheap. I mean, obviously, with any cheap printer, they take a lot of shortcuts, mostly with materials and electronics. So it might work, but my bet is that it's a really loud printer and it will leave a lot of artifacts in the prints, and it probably can't go very fast. But for a cheap printer, who knows? It might be pretty good. Again, I have no experience with it, but you never know. All right, so now at this point, I got to think about how I'm going to print this piece. So obviously with these overhangs, it's a little tricky, but what I'm probably going to do is print it standing up. So what I want to do is give this more support in there. So I'm actually going to get rid of this and get rid of that and bring it down here. But one thing I should add is that if you're just getting into 3D printing, I really wouldn't recommend. That is true, yeah. Unibody, especially like plastic extruded unibodies, are pretty cheap. But on top of that, materials can be very expensive. Like the frame for the Eclips3D, the frame probably costs about $60 or $70 just for the aluminum extrusions and all that, which isn't a ton, but the electronics and motors and all that stuff, that's the main cost of the printer. I don't know what that error is, but it doesn't matter. It's not affecting it. But what I was saying was, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. If you're just getting into 3D printing and you want to get a cheap 3D printer, I would really recommend you get a kit 3D printer, something like the Becaue II. Now, that printer is really cheap, and it's not the best printer out there, but it's a kit, which means you put it together yourself, you troubleshoot it yourself, and you learn a lot more from it, which is really what you should be looking for when you're buying your first 3D printer. If you buy something like the Becaue, sorry, where it's a already fully set up 3D printer, pretty much ready to go, really nothing you can do on your part to improve it mechanically, because it's really kind of a closed design. You don't learn too much from it. Sure, you have a 3D printer that works, and it's probably fairly easy to set up. But if you ever want to go on to get a better 3D printer, you're not really going to know anything about 3D printing, and it's going to be a lot tougher to do that. So if you were buying a cheap 3D printer, I would definitely recommend a kit one that you put together yourself, and something that is a lot more open of a design. Like if you look at a Prusa i3, like that design is really open, really easy to hack in your own stuff. There's lots of room to work with. Something like my Eclips3D here, it's somewhere in the middle. It's not completely closed off, but it's not nearly as open as like a Prusa i3. Yeah, that's a good idea. Again, 2Up is not the best printer out there, but for the price, it's really good, and you definitely will learn a lot from it. So, I think how I want to bolt this to the back, I really only want to use 2 bolts, but I feel like that won't be enough. So I'm probably going to do 3. So these are all going to be the same size, of course. And they're going to be 3.5 so that a M3 bolt can pass straight through. Why didn't I draw on that? Whatever, that works. Doesn't really matter because I'm just cutting through everything. I think, yeah, I left 6 millimeters in between. All right, so now this should work fine. So the one belt's going to loop through there, the other one's going to loop through here. And will that get in the way with the bolt? Who knows? We'll find out. So this looks good. So this is going to be getting slapped on. Oh, actually, I can cut this smaller. Hold on, let me look at a real life print of that piece. I don't want to go smaller. Okay. So I'm gonna stick with this for now, and let me make it pretty, because why not? Let's just fill up these corners. Yeah, look at that, so much prettier. Oh, that's the ones it prints on. Let me get rid of those. I don't really like printing on fillets because it tends to make your prints just peel up way too easy. So anyway, that's good. So this will be a belt clamp combined. There are so many parts in this folder, it's ridiculous, but when I finish the design, I will be going through and renaming everything and making it all uniform and nice and easy to follow. But not yet. So what I want to do is I want to just get this, essentially, the footprint of it, and slap it on the back here so that I know exactly what I'm dealing with. These are all going to be construction. So this is how big it's going to be, and it's going to be centered on this line. Do I have a place for that part so the belt won't slip out? Yes. If you look in here, basically the belt is going to come in on this side, loop around, and then double back on itself through here. So this part is going to be where the belt's doubled back on itself, so that's going to clamp it together. And then this post is going to hold it back. And it doesn't seem like a whole lot, but I have printed this part, and it is more than enough to hold it. So anyway, back to this. So I'm going to have this guy in here, and excuse me. So I'm going to basically want this where it can slide back and forth freely until you're ready to tighten it down and secure it in place. So how I probably want to do that is I'm basically just going to have little channels for the nuts and the bolts to go through. And then when you want to lock it in place, you just tighten it down and it's good. Alternatively, depending on how this works when I test it, I may just have a slot for the bolt, and then I'll have a piece that goes on this other side that holds the nuts that would slide with it. Actually, that sounds like a good idea, but that does overcomplicate it a little. Let me see what it looks like with the nut slot and the other slot, bolt slot. So let me figure out. So these are 3 millimeters down. Head guidelines for where those are going to be. Also, just so you guys know who are watching now, I plan on this live stream being a bit more than an hour, possibly an hour and a half. I'm already half an hour in almost. I'll see how it's going. So now I want a slot. So many lines behind lines. Slot. Slot. This is going to be centered on this one, as is this. They're going to be the same size, which is going to be 3.5 millimeters. No, because that's radius, so it's going to be 1.75. And how long? I don't know. 30s. Well, oh, it's going to have to be longer than that because the bolts are not. So let's go 35 for now, just for visual purposes. So we got 40, 40. Why is this not centered? So I'm going to add a point on this. Okay, so that's a point on there, and I'll slap that onto the midpoint of this line, which didn't do it. Why did that lock in? All right, plan B. I can add a point on this other line at the midpoint, if I can find it. Really don't like how difficult it is to snap to midpoints in Autodesk Inventor. probably my least favorite part about this program compared to like something like SolidWorks. SolidWorks is easy because you can just sometimes I don't know what's going on. Alright, so this should move and then what? Plan B. How big is this? That's 63, so that's going to be 31.5. The edge. Look at me solving problems. That's centered. Cut both of these through. Oh, that's up there. All right, this will make things interesting. Cut that. Now, what I want to do is on this face, add a rectangle. I want it to be centered in that slot. I'm just going to add that guide piece there. And oh, I would love to add one here, but there we go. Add midpoints on that. I'm going to turn on my computer fan. Hopefully it's not too loud for you guys, but my computer's heating up a bit. So then add that slot. That slot. Looking at this now, I believe I am going to have to do that little trick where I would have a plastic piece on the back. Let's see how this is. 20. Yeah, that looks fine. 5. Yeah, that looks fine. And extrude. Cut both of these down. Not that far. How far is it through? It's about 4 millimeters through. It probably is 4 millimeters. So 2.5 is the size of the nuts. And I'm just going to go 2. And then in addition, I want it to come up a bit. Actually, I want it to come up to here. You can't do that. And then this one go to that face. And the other I gotta make things difficult. Let's go down 2 and up 5. Great. I know it's a little off, but I'll fix that later. Okay. Actually, I think this may be fine. In fact, let me make this shallower. But really, that's just going to hold the nut from spinning while you're trying to tighten it down. Down to 2 people, come on. So, oh, 3 people, yay. Again, guys, just joining. Feel free to ask any questions you'd like in the comments. I'll be just answering pretty much anything related to 3D printing, channel, Eclips3D, selling, whatever you want to ask. I think this should work as far as when you tighten it down, it should keep it in place without wiggling. I'll probably make this not as big. And let me see. Oh, I didn't actually put these in a specific place. So this is what, 48. How big is that? It's 28, 34. So I'm gonna make these what, 7, and that should give me a 20. Yes, that's good. Which means that's 3 now. Mine it says 4. That's interesting. It could be just the delay is insane. Actually, I saw when I was doing that timer before I started the stream, the delay ends up being like 40 seconds from when I am actually doing it to when it goes live, which is ridiculously long. They really have to do something to optimize that, because that's just way too long. 15 or 20 seconds would be fine, but this is almost a minute delay. All right, so these are 20 millimeters apart, which means I definitely don't need it this big. So these are 20 millimeters apart from center to center. I don't want too much side to side movement. I think 10 millimeters would be enough. So let me make this 30, and this could be 10, since that's just one. These guys are gonna have to change. That was weird. This is gonna be 36, right? I don't know. 16. And now distance, so that was going 10 to 9, so that there's a 5 millimeter gap on this side, and I believe that should be good. So I'm pretty confident that this will do what I want it to do. In fact, I will probably be printing this later today. Oh, I did recently purchase some 10 millimeter long bushings instead of these 20 millimeter long ones I've been using, and it seems to have helped quite significantly with the alignment issue I was having. With the 20 millimeter ones, I think it's just because of the nature of how it prints. It wasn't perfectly aligning both of them. But with the 10 millimeter ones, it seems to work a lot better. It's a lot more forgiving, and it still seems to slide just as well. So actually, let me go ahead and adjust. Oh yeah, that's right. I have to adjust this. How did I do this? Did I just rotate it? I see. I did rotate it. Or is that just the... Oh no, that's the whole thing. I did all of these parts a little bit differently, just because this was really my first time using Autodesk Inventor heavily. So I wasn't sure exactly the best techniques to do stuff. Oops. Not 111, thank you. And actually, I might want to make this... Oh, right now it's only 1 millimeter. Actually, that's only half a millimeter, whatever. That's weird. I mean, when you type it, it should, I thought it should show up instantly, but who knows? I certainly don't. Oh, cool, I had it somehow mirrored to the other side. I don't know what I did. This part is, without a doubt, the most complicated, and I actually recently rebuilt it when I decided to incorporate the E3D with the fan in here. I completely rebuilt the piece, and it's still a little bit of a madhouse. So the only thing I have to do now before I reprint this part for testing is I do have to change this, because oops, I actually did put a end stop in there, and I found out this was wrong. So I don't know exactly what it's supposed to be. Let me just look at my real model. Oh. Okay. So, what it appears, no, I'm not going to, is that this is actually like further in. I think this will work. It was just the little pins sticking down were hitting the plastic. The cutout wasn't in the right place. So that's good. The motor mount's good. That's strong. That's all good. This is good. This side's good. The only other thing, oh, I did correct that. So that should be good, I believe. Yeah, whatever. That's good. The only other thing is this, the fan mount. Now, I don't know exactly what was wrong because I have a model here and it should be exactly like the model was, only it's not. I do have my calipers. So I have calipers, I have the fan. Let me just measure to see where I went wrong. No, I figured it out. No, I didn't. That's right. Now, I do recall not having an exact model for this fan, but I don't remember exactly how. So I'm actually just going to kind of hold this up and tweak it so that it lines up as I think it should. So that's there. And it appears to be just a few millimeters off. So right now I'm just working on my actual printer, measuring how far off this guy is. And it appears to just be, I mean, maybe 5 millimeters too close. So now what I could do, well, first of all, let me get rid of, ooh, that's hidden. I shrink while printing. Yeah, no, it didn't shrink because it's like 5 millimeters. So it definitely wasn't that. It's definitely something messed up with the dimensions somewhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to actually get rid of all this because this is not right for whatever reason. This, get rid of that, 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 get rid of that. That's enough. This one's locked in. Yes. That's good. And I'm just going to kind of redefine everything, not really changing anything, just locking it in place how it was. Oops, whatever. What's wrong with this? Oh, that's what's wrong with that. There we go. So it seems like this was just 5 millimeters off. So let me make this 13. Now, that shouldn't interfere with anything. Yeah, that clears right over top. So that should be okay, actually. I do want to make it thicker, but the problem is that would raise it up a little. But I guess I can afford that. So let me make this 4. Oh. This. Oh. Tangent. Perfect. So that's 4 now. All right, so now that I made that 0.2 higher, this is going to be 0.2 lower, so let's just make it 3. Perfect. Hopefully it doesn't break. It doesn't. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. All right, and I will just be printing. Now what I could do, what would be smart, is to just kind of chop off this section and test fit that. So you know what, I will be smart and I will do that. So how I'm going to do that is I'm just going to slap in a sketch here, pick what I want to save, and then get rid of everything else. So I don't even need that chamfer. I can just go straight up to this edge. A little bit extra there. Scroll both ways. Of course, whatever. I just want to delete everything. How hard is that? Go both ways. Get. There we go. So that's that. And I will now slice this stuff off. And that's good. So I'm gonna end up printing this how it would print normally on its back side, so standing up like this. So it'll probably take half an hour or so just because it's tall and thin. And hopefully that will print or fit better. So let me save this and I'll actually start printing it now. STL, Scantry a fan test. The old printer. Also, for those of you watching now who watch my videos regularly, I do have quite a lot of nice filaments to be testing out soon. So keep an eye out for those videos. I'll be doing that really once I finish the main design of my Eclips3D. I'm going to be crazy busy the next 3 weeks trying to get this thing finished before I go off to school and getting the alpha or beta kits, whatever you want to call them, out. So I probably won't have time to test those filaments yet, but not only do I have some fancy colored filament, but I also have some fancy different material filaments, courtesy of one of my subscribers, who I will mention in the video itself with a lot more specifics. But it's pretty cool stuff, and I really am looking forward to printing with those materials. I'm really tempted to just start printing with them now. Oh, 45 minutes. Well, it's better than the 2 hours or whatever it takes to print the whole thing. All right, so this should print fine. I'll get this started. Yeah, who needs an SD card? So I'll probably be done streaming before this is done, but whatever, you'll just see this in a later video at some point. All right, so let me undo those cuts. Obviously, I don't want them in the final model. And change the view back to normal view. All right, so I'm pretty happy with this part so far. Definitely getting really close to being done. Also, if you haven't been following, I do have some cable string relief in here, which is nice. The extruder fits in perfectly. It's super solid. The tip of the E3D has zero wobble when it's in this thing. It's amazing. So really, all I have to do at this point is hopefully this fan fitting will be right. If it is, I will have to design a fan duct, which actually I should put some mounts in for that thing. I don't know exactly how I want to do it. Actually, I do. You know what? I want to have it where it sort of slides up and then it just has 2 bolts on the top there to fasten it down. I think that would be the easiest, probably the best looking, best functioning solution without using too much hardware. And looks like it started to print all right. I really need to get some isopropyl alcohol to wipe down my build tack, because it definitely seems to be seeing some oil and not really helping it sticking. But I don't have any isopropyl alcohol in the house, so I'll have to buy that. Just a second, guys. All right. Oh, Why did this go full screen? Don't know. Let me get my comments back up. Nope, that's not my comments. This is my comments. Hello. Will you do live streams of items printing? I suppose I could. Wouldn't be too exciting. Probably a time lapse would be better for that. Octoprint. Actually, I do want to get a Raspberry Pi at some point, so that may very well be something you'll be seeing in the future. Yes. So, what was I doing? Working on this, right? So yeah. So this piece is probably pretty good as it is now. As I said, I'll wait for this thing to print, and hopefully everything is lined up well in that. Then I will just have to design the duct, which ducts are always a pain to design, but this one really should just be a straight drop, an angle, and then a little nozzle to point it towards the front area. So hopefully it won't be too difficult. And I do want to have it all print in one piece from like the back side, so that shouldn't be too hard to do. But then I can just print out this big piece and pretty much be done with it. Not the prettiest piece, I know, but when everything's on it, it does look rather complete and really kind of, I don't know what I'm going for, but it looks nice. Is my point. Belt clamp, this guy's good. This one I will be printing later today to test. So what else can I work on now? I already did this base panel, which I will have to send off to have cut, but I just want to do some other stuff first in case I need more things cut out. I did look into using bigger linear bearings, but actually after printing with my guy with the, it only has the medium, the 1.5 length linear bushings. They're actually a lot stronger than I originally, thought they were. It really does help having the metal brackets and this solid one-piece metal Z-axis. So it's actually really, really solid. Haven't seen any issues from that. Haven't seen it vibrating or resonating or doing anything funky like that. So that should be good. Even if you push on it while it's printing, it really doesn't affect the print at all, unless you're doing super low layer height prints. But in that case, really breathing on the printer would mess up prints. End stops. I was going to do end stops. They're a little bit of a pain though, because this Y-axis, everything's broken, so I can't move it. I'll have to fix this, of course, before I release it. But the end stop is really tricky here because this piece doesn't come all the way to the end like it used to, so I can't really just have this guy here. I'm going to have to move it out a little bit. So I'm not really sure. What I wanted to do was put it on the other side. Basically have it, is this guy constrained at all? Let me see. It's not constrained, good. I'm going to constrain it. What I wanted to do was slap it right in here. Come on. I'm going to have to rebuild the, oh, it was constrained. Whoops, my bad. What I wanted to do is have it in here so that it would basically just contact the edge of this slider. But I'm afraid that it won't fit in this gap between the slider and this piece. It might end up only losing like 3 millimeters of travel, in which case that would probably be worth it, because then that wire would be hidden with all these wires. Plus I could have a full size bracket on top, so that would look a lot more, I guess, deliberate, a lot more even. So I would like to do that. Plus I really just want to move it off of this block, because right now it's kind of a mess how it is, even though it looks okay from this side because the one nut is hidden inside here. So, yep. Oh. I'm not sure there's too much more I have to do right now. Only 2 people left watching too. So yeah, definitely for the next live stream, I will be announcing it well beforehand. So hopefully I get a lot more viewers. But it doesn't really matter too much for these because I always post them afterwards as a posted YouTube video, so they get plenty of views at that time. So I'm not really too worried that only 2 people are watching right now. Ooh, now it's 4. Okay. Really jumps around a lot. I don't know how accurate that is. Anyway, if any of you guys watching have some live printing has been boring, but fix it. Yeah, I kind of figured that printing it live wouldn't be too exciting. Maybe if you don't own a 3D printer, it'd be kind of cool to watch. But I've spent so many hours just watching my 3D printer go that I definitely wouldn't really be too intrigued by it, unless it was like some really fancy, intricate, or like world record breaking print. I think the extruder's good. I've been having an issue with the extruder where this arm, of course I can't move it because again everything is broken. This arm after a few weeks tends to get a little bit looser, higher and higher, and the spring has less tension on it. I don't know why. I don't know if the plastic itself on the arm is bending or if it's like something else that's giving way. Actually, oh, it looks like it is. It looks like it is this post here that's actually bending. This little post that's sticking up. So I do want to do something about that. So let me do that real quick, and then I'll probably be done for today. So I'm gonna open these up. So I can make it bigger, but then I would have to also make this piece a little bigger, which really isn't that big of a deal. I don't have too much going on in that area of the printer. I have room to work with. So let me try making this bigger. So I can. So right now it's 6. Let's make it 8. It's 11. Good, that doesn't break anything. So that's 8. Now another thing I could do with this is integrate a bushing into this and then just have a bolt going through it. I mean, that was the whole reason I had this sort of reloaded. Please don't break. Okay, whatever. Yeah, that was the whole reason I basically had this post instead of just having a bolt, because this piece sees a lot of friction, and you don't really want to be clamping it down. You want it to be able to spin pretty freely, so that it doesn't really interfere with the tension mechanism. So that's why I've been doing this. But I don't know. I'll look into possibly getting a bushing. 7.8 now, although this looks like it would hold up much better, actually. So, no, you don't want to fix that. Of course not. When I have some spare time, I'm going to be redesigning or redoing this entire assembly, except for the frame, basically. I'm going to just delete everything out of it, make sub-assemblies, throw the sub-assemblies. See, like, this is a sub-assembly here. I'm going to be doing all sub-assemblies and redoing the whole thing. But I actually do like that, so let me see. So I don't think that messes with any of the dimensions, so that actually should just be good as it is. Let me see. This guy's measured height-wise, that won't be affected. So by making it bigger, it really just makes this back part bigger and this part taller. Now it says I have 2 people watching, so. But again, I mean, I'm going to post this when I'm done, so I'm not really worried how many are watching now. I don't think this really affects anything messing up the dimensions. So that should be good. These depths are good. The extruder, I actually really like this extruder design. It's really simple. Gets the job done, easy to put together, easy to take apart, and it provides plenty of tension on the filament. It's not adjustable, but It seems to provide just the right amount of tension for just about any filament. It might not for flexible filaments, just because they're so soft, it might be too much for them. I don't know. I will be, of course, testing and testing and testing. So another person just joined, but unfortunately, I'm going to be wrapping it up soon. So any final requests, questions from you guys out in the audience who are still watching, type them now, because I'll probably be ending in about 5 minutes or so. Oh yeah, there's a lot of delay. There's about a minute of delay here, so it's a bit of a pain. Let me just save everything in here, save this guy, and make a new STL of this while I'm waiting for any of you guys to possibly comment. Save this. All right, so that's some pretty good progress, especially with this extruder carriage. That was the main thing I wanted to get done. So now once I finish this ducting and get all that lined up, I can pretty much print out the final version of this guy, and well, hopefully it will be the final version. And then if that is all good, fingers crossed, then all I have to do is really set up the end stops and the printer's done, which is awesome. Of course I will be using that filament. That will probably be towards the end of the summer or the beginning of the school year for me. I'll of course be bringing it to school, and I really do want to print with it right now, but I have lots of other stuff to be printing regarding this printer, so that takes the priority, unfortunately. So I still have to get these plates cut out of metal. Right now they're plastic printed. Oh, that's right, I did want to move these. I believe I already adjusted them a little, but I want to move this up. That's 8, 10, 12, 10. Let's see how that. Have them back a little. Yeah, this should be good. Just want to adjust those out just a little bit, just for a little bit more clearance, just safety precautions, basically. I really do love using these flanged bearings. I must say they are worlds better than the old plastic printed ones that I was using. So for any of you who have a 3D printer, this is out of date also. But anyway, for any of you who have a 3D printer that you're designing, using, building, go for flanged bearings instead of printed things that you press bearings into. These are just worlds better, quieter, and they definitely are going to give me higher quality prints than plastic ones would have. So just something to keep in mind. They are a bit expensive and a little bit harder to find depending on the size you want, but so worth it, I must say. All right, so I'm going to wrap up this stream now. So this will be posted live if any of you want to watch any parts of it again. So we posted live probably right now once I'm done with this, and I'll be doing more videos about the printer, of course, as time goes on. If I burn myself while printing, more times than I can count. All right, quick story before I go. The best, worst, stupidest time I have burnt myself while printing. Let me remember. I believe I was printing and there was a small rattling coming from the hot end. I wasn't quite sure what it was. I wasn't actually printing at this time. It was standing still. But I wanted to see if I could tighten the nozzle of the printer, and I completely forgot that I had it heated up. So I just grabbed the nozzle and twisted, and left some nice burn marks on my fingers. That was that was bad. But I probably burned myself half a dozen times. A lot of times on my arm because I'm reaching into the printer. After a print's done, and I accidentally rub my arm against the hot end and just burns it. So yes, I burnt myself many times. If you own a 3D printer, you'll probably burn yourself many times as well, unless you're more careful than me, which is very possible. So that's pretty much it. So thank you all for watching. Keep an eye out for later videos, and I will be doing another live stream sometime midweek next week. I don't know an exact day yet, but I will make a video probably Monday, give an exact date and time, and I will hopefully be able to stick to that. I do want to do at least one planned live stream to see just how many people I can get watching, because I mean, with these unplanned ones, I get about 5 or so at a time. Hopefully I can get like 15 or so with it planned out. So we'll see. So that's pretty much it. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you later.